Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, so let's get right into this today. I have lots of notes. A couple days ago, I saw that Laura Lee had posted this video called The End of an Era, and I was like, what is going on? Is she quitting YouTube? Because usually when YouTubers or, TikTokers and stuff like that, they quit posting, they will announce it and they'll say quitting YouTube, or they'll do it like 5 times before then, and it's always a joke. They don't really mean it. And so I was like, what does she mean, the end of an era? Is she closing her brand? Is she closing all of her brands? Is she the new Jaclyn Hill? Is she closing all the brands down? Like, what is going on with Laura Lee? So I watched this video last night and I took some notes, and I have to say, okay, now, over here, I very rarely cover a video and give a lot of the positive, what should I say, positive affirmations, no. I give a lot of positive reviews about the video that I watch, because usually there's a lot that I find in there that's just kind of junk when I watch videos and, react to them. But I have to be honest with you, I was really pleasantly surprised with Laura Lee's videos. To be honest with you, I don't take much issue with most of her videos that she posts. I don't really watch many of her videos that she posts anymore. I think the last time that I watched Laura was in a podcast, her and Manny's podcast, the Full Coverage podcast, and I really don't enjoy that podcast at all. And I know she loves it, but I don't think it's a great look for Laura. After years of her and Manny constantly being upset with drama channels and things like that, just in the last year, Manny's been in another drama channel's biggest video, and then Laura and Manny have basically turned into drama channels on their Full Coverage podcast. They don't do research. They don't know what they're talking about in their videos. The whole Colleen Ballinger thing happened where they came out and Manny sided with Colleen Ballinger, and then they took the video down because the comments were not in their favor, and then they never addressed it, and they've still to this day have never addressed it. And so I just don't think the Full Coverage podcast is a really great look. I think the last time I covered them was when they were really upset about, I haven't covered Manny or Laura actually in quite some time, was when they were really upset because they had redone their podcast studio and people were telling them that it looked like a dentist office, which it did. It absolutely 100% looked like a dentist office. It was literally 2 chairs and a table, and I think it had some magazines like, Good Housekeeping and that, highlight, find the pictures in the back, that kind of magazine. No, but it very much looked like a dentist office. And they were so offended by it. And I said in my video, I thought it was such a great opportunity, that they could have taken it and instead of they were upset with their audience. They said in their next video, they were really hurt. They put a lot of time and effort into designing their studio. And I can remember watching it and I thought, you literally have 2 chairs and a table and a backdrop. What took all the time and energy to put into this anyway? So I said it was a missed moment, because if they had really thought about it, what they should do is they should say to their audience, what do you think we should do? Every time we're going to change it, so you let us know. And then they could have called out somebody in their, their comment section and been like, Judy Smith said that we should do tie-dye, and so they do tie-dye. Judy Smith said we should do, rainbows, and so they do rainbows one day. Judy Smith said we should do a fake fur, so we did fake fur today. And every week they could have switched it up. Literally, they could have gone to, some, party store or whatever and bought that stuff for, maybe spent $50 a week on making a new setup for their studio. It was such a missed opportunity, but instead they came out and, like they have before, and I've seen them very much in sense of entitlement before, which was missing from Laura's video, that I just watched, which was one of the things that I really, really loved about it. But there's been many moments with Laura and Manny in the past where there's just, it progressively I feel like it got worse over years. I really liked Laura and Manny back in the day. I don't think that's missed on anybody. I really liked them a lot. And then Dramageddon 1 happened with the picture that they took where they were, flipping off Jeffree Star, supposedly. And then after that was, Laura Lee's apology video. And then, Manny talking about, his, professional life, the social blade the professional life might be in the red, but his personal life is in the green. And then when they kind of, tested the waters and they came back, it was then they got kind of, really arrogant. content around that time. I don't know. There was just something about them that I did not enjoy watching. And so that was kind of like, and there was a lot of things, I mean, they wouldn't address their alignment with James Charles and things like that. So I just was kind of out at that point. But when I saw this video come up with Laura Lee, I was like, number one, I don't think I've covered Laura Lee probably in a year. I mean, maybe the only video I probably covered talking about her is the one that I did talking about their podcast setup. Other than that, I mean, I don't think I've done specifically a Laura Lee video. I mean, it's probably been 2 or 3 years, honestly, since I've done a specific Laura Lee video. And so when I saw this came up on my, you know, like my page, I was like, what is this? And so I sat down last night and I watched it and I took a lot of notes, and I was kind of blown away, honestly. I was like, is she turning into the new Jaclyn Hill? Is she closing all of her businesses down? So I'm going to get into this. I'm going to let you guys know what she said. I have very exclusive notes, but her video is called, it is sitting up from 5 days ago. It's sitting at 216,000 views, which is probably her most viewed video on her channel in months. And it was from 5 days ago, and it's called The End of an Era. And, I mean, her other videos are like, she just posted a video 23 hours ago. It's got 32,000 views. My most used, most repurchased products of 2024. It's all like skincare in the thumbnail. Then 2 weeks ago, $800 super trendy clothing haul. It's got only 38,000 views. So from 2 weeks ago, it's sitting at exactly where her most recent video is covering skincare. The shocking PR unboxing you need to see, and it's like this huge PR unboxing because she does these like every couple months. She actually talks about it in this video. It's sitting at 144,000 views. 3 weeks ago, 20 products I can't live without in flops 2024. It's all like skincare and makeup, 104,000 views. And the reason I'm reading, there's a point why I'm reading this to you. The Amazon holiday gift guide you've been waiting for, it's all makeup in there. I mean, it's got a few clothing items, but not much. 111,000 views. Affordable makeup dupes I've been gatekeeping, 66,000 views. Massive $1,000 White Fox try-on haul. And this is all clothing, and it's 30,000 views, okay? The reason why I'm saying that is because when you look at her views on here, she gets almost no views for her clothing try-on hauls and things like that. That's important about what we're going to talk about. So I get into this video, and I really didn't know what to expect. I honestly, I went through a couple of the top comments, and they were talking about her receiving PR. And I was like, somebody said something about like, oh, I'm glad that you're not going to be receiving PR anymore. And I was like, okay, girl. So you've decided now in 2025 that you're not going to receive any more PR. Okay. So I was like, if that's what this video is about, like, that's it. That's the end of an era, is that you're not going to receive any more PR. But no, that's not it. There's so much in this video. And I have to say, I was really, really impressed with how she handled the whole situation. So she does talk about the closing of her brand. She is closing down Laura Lee Los Angeles. We'll get to that in a second. Her other brand, which I don't know how to pronounce that brand. It's like, what is it? Mini MLA. It's like, how she pronounces it and how it looks are two completely different things. She pronounces it as like, I don't know. So I apologize that I'm mispronouncing that, Miss Laura, and all of her fans out there. She pronounces it like Minimala or something like that. I don't know, but anyway, so that's her clothing brand, and that she now has like a body care line in there of like body washes, lotions, things like that. So, she talks about an update on that as well. And then she talks about PR. She talks about some other things in there. So I want to get in and kind of break down this video because, interestingly enough, I was like, I kind of thought that Laura Lee had kind of like fallen off. Like, I didn't think that anybody was really watching her or paying attention to her anymore. I mean, she's not getting the kind of views that she got back in the day. But I was really like impressed with how she handled this video. So let's get into this. And I also think that it's like some updates that back in the day, I mean, like, this is an interesting thing, right? That like back in the day, if Laura Lee came out and announced that she was closing, you know, Laura Lee Los Angeles, her makeup brand, I mean, that video alone, at like a 20-minute video of me just coming on here and being like, Laura Lee announced that she was closing her brand, I mean, that video would be like such a highly watched video. People would have been so interested back in the day. And I think that's kind of the end. I mean, you were talking about the end of an era. I mean, it's really the end of an era. It's really the end of, I think we're seeing the end of influencer makeup. We really are. And she kind of addresses that a little bit in here and talks about celebrities and celebrity makeup. And I do think that what she's saying is true. I also think that if it were different influencers, maybe the makeup would be flying off the shelves a little bit more. I think it's what we'll get into that in just a second. So anyway, She says this video is all about openness, and, but it's also, like, when I watched it at the end, so she goes in this and she says this is all about openness. She's going into 2025, and she wants to be completely transparent with everybody so that everybody's on the same page, meaning her and her audience. But when you watch it, it's also kind of a good clue as to what the beauty influencers are talking about. And not just YouTubers, but Instagrammers, TikTokers, what they're talking about behind the scenes, okay? You can really clue in by what she says and things that she's talking about, like what the trends are that they're moving to, or what people are worried about behind the scenes, or what people are doing. It's interesting. Well, okay, so anyway, so she then announces that she is closing down Laura Lee Cosmetics. So she goes in here and she says that she wants to tell you what's going on with both of her brands. There's Minimala, and I know I'm horribly mispronouncing it. I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway, it's the one that started as Cutie Patootie, or Nudie Patootie, or Cutie Patootie. I think it's Cutie Patootie. Anyway, and she says, you know, I'm just not the 2016 beauty guru anymore. I'm like... No shit, really, girl? Okay. So then she said she is officially closing down Laura Lee Los Angeles. And I was kind of like, damn, I can't believe she is, you know? I will also say this, that Jaclyn Hill made that her last video of, I think, 2023 going into 2024. I know because I called it. I said it was going to be the last video that she posted of the year, and it was the last video that she posted of the year. I think this is the first video that Laura Lee posted in 2025. I think it was filmed in December. Now, I could be wrong. It could be the last video that she posted, but it says 5 days ago. So 5 days ago would have been in January. And so she talks about videos that she's filming in January in this video. But I kind of like that she started it January off, like on a fresh start. Like, let me just fill you guys in on where I'm at and things like that, right? So she said that she has left people in the dark. Okay, so she said she's gotten a lot of questions about what's going on with Laura Lee Los Angeles, her makeup brand, because she hasn't done a release in so long. And she's real transparent. This is where Jaclyn Hill completely missed the mark, because Jaclyn Hill still comes out and says that she owns her brand, that she's the CEO of her brand. I mean, there's all the paperwork. We know that that's not the case, right? And this is where it's so easy. I mean, Laura Lee proves how easy it is to just get on video and transparently show like what's really going on. And what makes me kind of sad about this is that the mistakes that Laura has made, and her friend Manny back in the day, like with the Colleen Ballinger situation on their podcast, would have been so easily resolved, right? If they would have just been as transparent on their podcast as she was in her video, if they would have just come out and said, hey, you guys, listen, taken down the podcast, the next week came back on and said, listen, first of all, we owe an apology to Adam McIntyre, because Laura was like, wasn't that like 4 years ago? They didn't do the research and say, hey, listen, we owe an apology to Adam McIntyre and the other victims. We did not know our research, therefore we shouldn't have spoken on it. We took the podcast down because we thought that it was ill-researched. We were getting a lot of comments educating on this. We listened to our audience, and so we thought the best thing to do was to take the podcast down. But just to never address it, like she shows in this video how easy it is just to be completely open and transparent. I mean, she says, I want to be open and transparent, and she is open and transparent in this video. So it's crazy to me that she knows that, and I don't know, like, who was kind of pulling the strings. I mean, later it came out that she said on there, I didn't know Colleen, and she didn't know Colleen. I mean, she had never, like, interacted with her really or anything like that. She said she had maybe, like, met her, like, one time or something, but there was no, like, but Manny had done, like, several videos with Colleen Ballinger as Miranda Sings. Manny himself was problematic in those Colleen Ballinger videos. And so if I were Laura, and that was half of my podcast, and I said this at the time, I would have said, Manny, you're going to come out and you're going to address this. We're going to take the podcast down, and the next podcast, you're going to own it. But I think that because of their past scandals, this is the only thing I can think that makes sense of it. Because of their past scandals, they were so worried that this thing that they both loved doing together, this podcast, was going to be canceled because of their coming, you know, in support of Colleen Ballinger and not doing their research. And so I think that they just thought, we just won't address it at all. You know, this was also around the time that Mikayla had come out and not addressed, you know, Mascara Gate and things like that. And so I think they thought, well, if we just won't come out and address anything either. You can tell in this video that Laura Lee watches other influencers very, very closely. She references Mikayla in this without saying her name. She references her. And so they watch all these people very, very closely. I don't understand why all these people watch the Kardashians so closely, like her and Jaclyn Hill and Mikayla. They all watch Kim Kardashian, like, for every move. But we'll get to that in just a second because she talks about it. So she goes in here and she says, she's left people in the dark about what she's going to do with Laura Lee Los Angeles because she really wasn't sure what she was going to do with it. And so she just kind of didn't say anything at all. And I was like, well, that's pretty honest, right? And then she says that she is stretched way too thin to run a makeup company the way it needs to be run. This is where, when she gets in this whole conversation about talking about why she's closing the brand down, I mean, I just kind of watched it. I was like, I'm really impressed with how, like, authentic she's being in this moment. I mean, given that everything that she's saying is true, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't watch her that closely anymore. And then she goes into talking about how much goes into running a makeup brand and that she was fully self-funded and that she's really proud of herself for having run this brand, but it's like it takes so much work to run a brand and picking the colors out and doing this and hiring graphic designers and marketing teams and all this kind of stuff. And so she was like, I'm spread too thin. Several times in this video, she talks about wanting to continue to be a social media influencer and that if she's going to do this, like, that will take her time away from posting YouTube videos or doing the podcast. But then she also talks about how she's going to more short-term content. Now, I don't think this is a smart move. I'm just going to tell you right now. I mean, I'm getting ready to do my predictions video for 2025. I don't just think that it's the possibility of TikTok being shut down. I think that a lot of things and how we look at things are going to change in the next 2 years. I think that we have had this huge pendulum switch over to short form content. Even TikTok has gone to longer form content on TikTok. I think we're going to see a swing back to longer form content. It's interesting because I've been tracking several TikTokers that are pretty big on TikTok, and just recently, in the last 2 months, 3 months, they have started posting long form content on YouTube, and it's not faring well. They're not getting a lot of views over there, and I think they're kind of testing the waters to see, like, if TikTok does close down, or if TikTok changes in some way. What will I do? Like, where will I go? Will I just post on Instagram, or will I be able to have a career on YouTube? You know, I've said this before. It's like when Vine shut down, there were only like 3 or 4 or 5 people that were able to be successful from Vine over to YouTube. Gabby Hanna was one of those people. So I think a lot of these people are switching it. I don't know that I think if I were, like, giving advice to YouTubers right now, that I think that this is the time that I would, like, switch to short-term content, short-form content. I think short-form content is so saturated right now that if it were me, I would double down on long-form content. I mean, you're getting longer views, your watch time is longer, you're making more money over there. I mean, I've heard that people don't make a lot of money on TikTok unless they go live, unless they're getting sponsorships. So Laura Lee's not going to be pulling the kind of views that Mikayla is. And she's also talking about Instagram because she shows both of her TikTok and her Instagram over there. I just don't think it's a real smart move for her to do that. I think if it were me, like, they're all doing this now, like, and they're all kind of late to the game too. It's like Laura's doing it, Tati's going over to Instagram and into the TikTok more and things like that. I'm like, I would double down and I would start posting every day on YouTube, you know, and, like, pump that algorithm out in my favor before everybody tries to rush over here and start their stuff. I just don't think it's really smart. I think that's when I make predictions, is that in the next 2 years, we are going to see a flood back to long form content, which I'm completely fine with because I make long form content and I love watching long form content. I cannot get into a minute of a TikTok and then be done with it. It's like, I think the thing that's missing for me is you don't really get to know the person that you're watching. And that's something that's enjoyable for me, you know? Like, even back in the day, I've talked about this for years. One of my favorite channels was a channel called Nick and Poncho. And it was about this Italian guy, Nick, and his dog was Ponchino. And Ponchino has since passed away. But I love the channel so much. But you got to know their relationship. You got to know who they were. Even his videos on YouTube were like 2 and 3 minutes long. They weren't long, you know. But you got to know him, and he posted enough that you got to know about him and his relationship with the dog. You know, I don't really get, like, I feel like I get that on TikTok or even Instagram Reels when I follow people. And this is the other thing, is that I am now when I look at people on Instagram, I mean, people that I follow and stuff like that, I look at people's stories, but Reels, I don't. I look at people's pictures more. Do you remember when, like, Laura came out and said that she wished people would post pictures more? Well, the reason they didn't post pictures more on Instagram is because the Reels, they can make money off of. These people do not move unless they're making money. I think that's the saddest thing, is that they started doing it because they were passionate about it. it turned into a job, and then they started making a lot of money off of it. Now they don't do anything for the passion, they do it for the money. And I think that's really what's missing for a lot of these people, and why I think that's why a lot of their audiences are really not that interested in them anymore, because the passion's not coming through. I mean, those would be two things that I would tell these people. I would say, do it because you love it. Do what you want to do. If you want to review clothes and it's only getting 30,000 views, review clothes. Do it because you love it, because your passion is what got you where you're at to begin with. When you're doing it and you're forcing it, it comes across. Like, this is probably one of the most genuine videos of Laura Lee's that I've ever seen. So she goes in there and she's talking about how to run a makeup company, and that it takes a lot to run a makeup company. She says that the website will be coming down. Okay, then she goes, wait, before that, she goes in here and talks about being self-funded, fully self-funded, and that she's very proud of herself for being fully self-funded. There's never been anything that's ever come out that said, and she even talks about partnership later, so I know that she wouldn't have said it if it wasn't true. There's never been anything that's come out that I'm aware of where Laura Lee did not fully self-fund her business, unlike Jaclyn Hill. It's interesting to me. Like, I went in and I looked, and Laura and Jaclyn still follow each other. Laura still follows James, problematic Charles. But one of the things that's interesting to me is that they're all friendly with each other. Like, if I were like Manny or Laura that owned my own businesses, or Jeffree Star even, that owned my own businesses, and then Jaclyn Hill is over here, and it's not that she had a partner, okay? Like, a lot of businesses have partner. Laura says this in the video. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with that she lied about it, and that she never has addressed it and said it was her own money. It was a family-owned business. I mean, she stands behind that to this day and calls it her businesses and things like that, right? She's never come out. I mean, Forma Brands owned Jaclyn Cosmetics. She wasn't even any kind of owner in it at the end. She was the face of Jaclyn Cosmetics. We know that from the paperwork, the court-documented paperwork. I mean, when people want to dispute that, it's like, look up the paperwork. It's court-documented paperwork. You cannot, it's bankruptcy paperwork, it's refiling of Forma Brands. I mean, you cannot dispute that, okay? And so it's kind of interesting to me, and maybe there is some, like, I don't know, behind the scenes kind of stuff going on. But the fact that all these people own their own businesses outright, raise their own money for it, have their families put money into it, work their asses off for it, and then Jaclyn Hill comes over here and she says she owned her own business too when we know she didn't. I mean, like, that would kind of piss me off a little bit if I was Laura and Manny. It's interesting because kind of like, Laura isn't fully shady in this video, but she kind of says some things that made me wonder, is she kind of getting her digs in at people a little bit? So then she goes in and she starts talking about celebrities, and that we're seeing so many celebrities have their own brands now, and that they were seeing influencers doing it, and that then they started doing it, which I don't know how much truth I think there is to that. I mean, I do think that there's a little bit of truth to that. I think that part of it is that, I don't live 24 hours a day on social media, and most of my friends are not on social media. So when you ask regular people, like, do you know who Laura Lee is? They've never heard of her. When you ask most people, even people that like makeup, and then when I say this, people are going to be like, that's not true. When you ask most people, like, do you know who Jeffree Star is? They know him because of his controversies, or James Charles. They don't really know him because of his makeup. When you ask people if they know who Shane Dawson is, very few people know who Shane Dawson is. When I ask people, like, who do you know? It's interesting who people know. Like, even PewDiePie. People are like, I don't know who PewDiePie is. Most people, if they know, like, Jake and Logan Paul, it's because, like, their kids watched them back in the day. A lot of them either know, like, Colleen Ballinger, but they don't know where is Colleen Ballinger. They know where is Miranda Sings, and they know Trisha Paytas. Those are the two people that, like, if you ask people, just pull them off the street. Those are the ones that people know. Well, Trisha Paytas has been in a lot of mainstream stuff, number one. Number two is, it's a microcosm of the world. So, I mean, do I think that celebrities were sitting back like Lady Gaga and being like, Laura Lee and all these people have their own makeup lines, I'm going to come up with their own makeup line? No, I think it was natural for Lady Gaga like it was for everybody else. I think she loved makeup. She loved this. I think somebody brought her the idea and she thought, I think this is a great idea. I don't think it was because of the influencers. I think if the influencers had never had influencer makeup, we would still be seeing celebrity makeup and skincare. I just think that we would, And not to mention that we had celebrities endorsing skincare and makeup long before there was influencer makeup. So I don't know which came first. I think maybe celebrities were like, we've been endorsing so much makeup and skincare for so long. I mean, celebrity perfumes have been around and done very, very well for a long time. The Paris Hilton ones, the J.Lo ones, they've done very, very well for a long time. So is it a hard stretch to think that they would then go into makeup and skincare? No, not at all. But of course, it has to be about the influencers. But I do think, and she says in there that the celebrities have 10 times more pull. So basically what she's saying is, now that there's all this celebrity makeup and skincare, it's hard for us to compete. Well, I do think that's true. I 100% do think that's true. And I also think that people are going to, there is some kind of, a little bit, I don't know why, a respect factor, like I'm going to buy something from a celebrity more than I would buy it from an influencer. I don't know why that is. We're just not in the world, and the influencer world is so saturated because of TikTok. I just don't think, like back in the day in 2016, like she references, when I started, there were like 5 or 6 people that were at the top of their game that you would trust what they had to say. Interestingly enough, though, you know, like I still have friends of mine that loved like that Toddy Beauty palette and were like, that was the best palette I ever used, you know? And like my friend Tanya, so Toddy sent that to me back in the day, and I gave it to my friend Tanya, and she, like, to this day, she's like, that is hands down, you know, in all of my years, that is the best makeup palette I have ever used. And I used to give Tanya all of my PR back in the day, and half of it she thought was junk, and she'd just be like, this is crap. I've given a lot of my, like, well, I gave most of my stuff away that I got back in the day. You know, I would get palettes from like Manny. I bought the Jeffree Star palettes. Nobody liked the Jeffree Star palettes that I gave them to. There were people even that liked colorful palettes and stuff like that. But that Toddy palette, people, I mean, Tanya loved it. Other friends of mine loved that palette. So do I think that, like, if that returned, it would do well? Yeah, I do think it would do well. I do. Because I think it held up. So she said it's too hard to compete with all the celebrities. And so she goes on to say that the website will be coming down mid-year. And this is where I just loved how transparent she was about all this. It will be coming down mid-year, and that it will officially be closed after everything is gone, basically. And so there's still time left to buy things. So basically it's an advertisement to buy things off. But, you know, whatever. I did love this, though. Everything on the site is 70% off. She goes through and gives the price point on these things. The price point on these products is so low. I don't know how close we are to the expiration date on these products, but I mean, it's 70% off, and she runs down the pricing, and then she says as soon as the inventory runs out, the brand will be gone. So she's completely honest about it. I love how she talked about it. And I'm like, and that's how you do it. Jaclyn Hill, you get on video and you just say it. I mean, Jaclyn could have got on here and on video, and she could have said, you guys, I mean, you know, at the beginning, I did own Jaclyn Cosmetics. I, you know, partnered with Forma. They were the main owners. I know everybody knows that because of the documentation, the courts. It always just felt like my own. They let me be the face of Jaclyn Cosmetics. They let me pick out the colors. They let me pick up or name the things, blah, 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 whatever. So it's always felt like my company, blah, blah, blah. I will always refer to it as my company because I started it. I LLC'd it. All of that is true, you know, but they offered for me to buy it, and I just don't have the same interest in makeup. It's really difficult to run a makeup company on your own without having partners. I don't really want to do that. It's too much work. And I don't really want to do that much work, even though I love makeup and I wanted to own my makeup company. But no, like if she come out and said that, I don't think anybody would have faulted her for it. You know, there would have been a few drama channels that would have been like, you know, we would have made probably some videos and been like, okay, she finally comes out and tells the truth. But then she could have left it in the past. I mean, she's still playing these shenanigans. This is how you do it, Jaclyn. This is how you do it. Laura just taught you how to do it, okay? That you come out and you're just honest about what's going on with your shit. It's too difficult to run a makeup business. She wants to stay social media influencer. There's too much going on. And so she's done with it. And it's just too much work and too much money. And she gets into this with her other company as well. Because after that, she goes in and she talks about updates on Minimala. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't. It looks like mini MLA. Is it an MLA? Is it a pyramid scheme? No. And she said it opened as Nudie Patootie as a clothing boutique because she was really interested in clothing and stuff at that time. But she wanted to move out of, because she wanted that time to move out of makeup and she wanted to do more clothing content. Now, the reason why I was referencing her videos where she does makeup versus clothing is because when you look at her videos, her clothing videos do very poorly compared to her makeup videos. This is where I think that these makeup gurus have stuck themselves in a niche content area and they don't really know what to do with it. I do think that Jaclyn Hill is kind of suffering from the same thing. I think that Jaclyn Hill, which I have a video coming about her this week as well, I think that Jaclyn Hill really basically wants to be like a family lifestyle vlogger, and I think that Laura Lee does too, but if they stop doing makeup stuff, they're going to completely lose lose any kind of relevance whatsoever. And I think that that's their fear. But the thing is, if you transition it slowly over time, I think this is what Laura has noticed is she does these videos over a slow period of time, like a clothing video, this video, that video, and they don't do well. And so she's like, if I completely just stop doing makeup, then who's going to watch my videos? And she knows, okay, just like celebrities, if celebrities tomorrow stop doing movies and weren't in the mainstream, people aren't going to buy. I mean, if Deborah Winger tomorrow, who I absolutely adore from terms of endearment, but she's not as relevant today as she was in the 80s, if she came out with a perfume, the Deborah Winger perfume, tears of endearment, I don't think a lot of people would buy. Maybe they would, I don't know. But I don't think a lot of people would buy it, compared to like if, somebody that's really like, relevant right now and winning Academy Awards was going to come out. This is going to stop in just a second. Hold on. So I think that Laura Lee knows that her relevance and her marketing and her selling point is her being an influencer. And if she's not doing what people want, if she's not giving her audience what they want, which is the makeup, then she's going to lose relevance. Because if her makeup videos are getting 100 to 150,000 views a video, her clothing ones are getting 30,000 views. If she goes just to but she isn't really trying a lot of other lifestyle stuff. She talks about her vlog on here. I actually didn't even go over to her vlog and look to see how the views are over there. Actually, you know what? Let's do that really quick. Let's see. I don't know what her vlog channel is called. Here it is, her vlog channel. So her vlog channel is called Laura Lee Vlogs. It has 450,000 subscribers. And 13 days ago, she posted Target shopping spree. She got 37,000 views. Black Friday shopping with Aaron, that was a month ago, 53,000 views. Decorating my house for Christmas, 48,000 views. She's actually doing pretty good over there. I mean, I think 450,000 subscribers rushed over there because of her makeup content that loves her. But she's actually getting pretty good views for a vlogging channel over there. I don't know why she's not posting more regularly over here. 56,000 views, 50,000 views. I mean, this is what I would focus on, Laura. I'm telling you right now, okay? I would do whatever you want to do on your Laura Lee channel. And then on this channel, I would focus all my attention. I think people are more interested in the lives of people today. I think it's why we're seeing, more focus on reality TV in the last 10 years, things like that. This is what I would focus my attention on, is the Laura Lee vlogs. And, honestly, and people are like, well, that wouldn't be financially, sustainable for her. If she were posting a video every 2 days and getting 30 to 50,000 views, the hell it wouldn't. I mean, if she were posting a 30 to 40 minute vlog, her vlogs are 20 minutes, 19 minutes, 21 minutes, 34 minutes. Vlogs are not tough to do. Even when I'm out and I'm filming like with my cousin Caroline, you just film pieces together, you throw them up, and you just edit them together. It's so easy. And before you know it, you have a 40-minute video. I'm not talking about my vlogs where I sit on my front porch and talk, okay? That's easy too. I'm talking about when you're out and you're filming stuff and you just put it all together. It's real easy. It takes literally like 5 minutes to do. She could do that, and she could be posting of her day, her life, going out, going to get coffee. She could post 40-minute videos every 2 days. She would do really well. I think you should focus on Laura Lee Vlogs is what you should do. Actually, I don't know that I wouldn't start vlogging on my Laura Lee channel and change this to my lifestyle channel is maybe what I would do. But anyway, who am I? I don't know. So then she says that when she started minimal, that it was Nudie Patootie as a clothing boutique because she wanted to move out of makeup and do clothing. So what this tells us is, and she said she opened this during the lockdown or after the lockdown. So what that tells us is that for, 2020? So for 4 years now, she hasn't been interested in makeup. Okay, this is where all those people that are like the OGs of makeup, and she said in here now 2 things. I'm not the OG influencer that I was in 2016. I wanted to get out of makeup content and do more clothing because I was more interested in that. Just do it then. Okay, and this is where I think they're so afraid of losing money. And I understand that, okay? But it's like, if you do what makes you happy, like, okay, I started this Peter Watches TV channel. When I started the Peter Watches TV channel, I was doing covering Bravo drama. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I watch all the Bravo drama channels like Up and Adam. I love him. I love all the, Queens of Bravo on Instagram and things like that. I follow all of the Bravo accounts. I love them all. I follow them all. It's a lot of work to do that, okay? And I wasn't going to have 2 drama channels. So a while ago, probably 6 or 9 months ago, when I think the Ashley Madison documentary came out, I watched it and I covered it over there. And I was like, I'm just going to do reactions to true crime and, reality shows, 1,000 Pound Sisters, Sister Wives, any new show that comes out on Netflix. And that's what I've done over there. Last night, I watched part 1 of the Natalia Grace, the final chapter, part 3. Part 2 comes on tonight. Took all these notes. Loved it. Loved watching it, taking notes. I have so much fun on that channel. And I'm so passionate about it because I love watching TV. And, you know, I've had so many people reach out to me and say, this channel makes me so happy to watch because I can tell you're so excited about doing it. I think that's the thing, right? It's like, any YouTuber out there, any influencer, I mean, I think now we're seeing a new wave of people coming through where they're like just trying to get viral from the beginning. But the people that started back when Laura Lee started because they were passionate about it. They just happened to get real lucky and blessed, right? So they're missing out on the passion of doing what they're doing, you know? And for me, I'll be honest with you, I would rather watch a vlog of Laura's. I'll probably go in and watch some of her vlogs after I get done with this because that's more interesting to me than seeing her do an unboxing of all of her PR, which I know people like because they want to see the new makeup and all that kind of stuff, that watch her makeup content. But I think like if Laura were sitting in front of me, what I would say is you're more than your makeup content, okay? People came to you because they like your makeup reviews and they like what you have to say about makeup and doing makeup, but you're more than your makeup, okay? People are invested in you. So she addresses her cat in here. Her cat passed away. Her cat Peach passed away in 2021. I'm really sorry, Laura. Having just lost our dog Boo Radley and our other 2 dogs. I mean, it's so hard. I kind of love, to be honest with you, that she didn't feel the need to come out and address it until now. I kind of live for that, honestly. And she gets a little emotional sharing it. And, I mean, I think we live in this world where we, you know, like every little thing, like people, you know, have questions about. And she's like, I mean, it's been 3 years, you know? But anyway, still sad and tragic. And I feel for you, Laura. But like, if she were sitting in front of me, I'd say, what makes you happy? Like, what do you want to do? Because people didn't only watch your channel. If people subscribed and made the OGs because of their amazing talent of makeup and because of their love of makeup and only talking about makeup, the people that ended up there, the 5 or 10 that did, would not be the 5 or 10 that did. The reality is, very few of those people are trained makeup artists. Very few of them really know how to do makeup that well. Very few, I mean, in all honesty, that's the truth. Very few of them, you know, like, had great makeup skills to begin with. They just got real lucky. I think 90% of it was their personality. People like to listen to them. People like their little quirks and their little things or catchphrases. And so I think that's what people really attracted to them. Laura, you are more than your makeup. If you want to stop doing the makeup content, stop doing it. You know? Do what makes you happy. So, and I think that might be why she's kind of downsizing some of these things, because then she's saving money and then she can live on less. And maybe that's why she's doing it. Maybe she's realized her happiness is more important than doing makeup content. I don't know, because she talks about this in here. So, she talks about having body products now, and that she moved from just clothing to doing body products and blah, 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 and that she wanted it to be more of a full store. She says that she's asked for a lot of advice, and that you always want to, I love that she says this, because this is 100% so true, and I've always done this in my life. You always want to listen to people who are doing what you are doing, but they're doing it better than you. And that is the best advice ever. I heard that from somebody when I was in my 20s, and I 100% agree with that. You listen to somebody that, call up somebody that is doing exactly what you want to do, but they're doing it better. And I've always reached out to, you know, when I was writing a book, I reached out to several authors that I absolutely adore. I've done that like on YouTube when I've, you know, had questions about stuff. I've reached out to people that are doing it 10 times better than I am, you know, and I think also it helps you continue to challenge yourself and to continue to grow, you know, if you're surrounding yourself with people that are successful. And I think to always have mentors in life, you know, and mentors don't always look like, you know, somebody that's 90 and a school professor. Mentors come in many different ways. And so I love that she said that in here. They told her that she needs to narrow it down and just do one thing, right? And she's like, but if she does clothing, then she would have to release it every week. Now, I don't know that I believe this, okay? Because I follow a lot of clothing brands that are like just online shops, and they don't release every week, and they do very, very well. Which means that she would have to quit everything else. So she said she's going to turn it into a body care line. So there will no longer be doing clothing. Clothing will be marked down to 70% off as well. Baby, it's clearance rack central over at Everything Laura Lee. And I love that she's doing that. She's marking everything down to 70%, right? Here's the thing, okay? If it were me, she said she's done a lot of research, okay? It doesn't take a lot of research to look at your videos and be like, yeah, my clothing videos aren't doing shit, okay? And so I'm going to get rid of my clothing videos. I'm not doing those anymore. You know, it's like, On my Peter Does Stuff channel, one of my worst viewed videos that I ever do is that I have a movie club over there, okay? It's Peter's Movie Club. I haven't resumed it yet for 2025, but I am resuming it. And I also did a shark movie club that will be resumed as well, but I'm only going to do it in the summers from now on. Those videos get shit views, okay? If I was looking through and going to get rid of one thing because I cared so much about just the views, I would get rid of those. But I love doing the movie club because I'm doing, like, I'm watching movies and we're watching movies that are nostalgic to me. Movies that I loved, you know, in the last, like, when I was growing up and in the last 20 years that really meant something to me. So, but if I look through, it's real easy to look and see 2,000 views, 2,000 views, 2,000 views, 400 views. You know what I mean? It's like, you can see that. So she's obviously going through her videos and she can see her clothing videos aren't pulling anything at all. Nobody cares about Laura Lee and clothes. Even though she says that she's had, like, it's selling off the racks. Well, if it's selling off the racks, how do you have any inventory to sell? But I think it's a smart move. She's wanting to go into full body care now. But this is the thing, right? She references, like, Rhodes Beauty and things like that. Several of the brands she references are all skincare. Okay, this is where... Okay, to be a trendsetter, you have to come up with your own trends, okay? And you cannot be copying other people. Like, she says she wants to go to do more short-form content. She's got to focus on more short-form content. Well, the reason why she's saying that is because everybody's doing short-form content, and they're being successful, the ones that she's seen, like Mikayla. So she's got to go do that. Now, makeup's not doing as well anymore, but skincare's doing fantastic. So she's going to move into body care, okay? We're going to just do body care now. But I'm like, girl, come up with an original idea. Laura, you did not get to where you got because you don't have any original ideas. I just don't believe it. I think this is where people, I've seen this through the years, like Shane Dawson and that I think, like, are very creative people, unless they just, maybe they stole everybody else's ideas or whatever and got lucky. I don't know. I don't think that about these people because it's just like, you didn't get to where you got by not being able to reinvent yourself, you know? I mean, like, Trisha Paytas, as an example, has invented herself 90 million times, you know? And sometimes it fails and sometimes it's successful. And that's not to say she doesn't need to address her issues from the past, because if I don't say that, somebody will say it. But, like, I don't know, Laura, come up, I think this is where you ask yourself, I mean, she's in a position where she's made good money. She says in there she's diversified her income, so she's got a lot of different income sources, which a lot of these, I think that's smart. I just talked about that in a video not too long ago. It's like, do something what makes you happy, okay? I mean, maybe the body care or owning a store, but, like, she seems like she's just, like, at this point, like, I want to do what's going to make me successful. Well, success doesn't always make you happy. You know, happiness equals success, but success does not equal happiness. And I think that's one of the things that some of these people that got so successful early missed, because they were buying the bags, they were flying around the world, they were being gifted everything, they were making a lot of money, and so that equals happiness to them. That's not happiness. And the older you get, you realize that you actually, like, you don't need as much as you get older, you know? But to wake up every day and to do something that you absolutely love, like, that's the real prize. You know, whether like, for me to be able to call this a job, or for somebody else to go work in their garden, or whatever it is, you know, do what makes you happy. The passion will shine through and people will be attracted to that. She says businesses that can pivot themselves are successful. So that's why she's talking about MMO. And that how she's changing from a clothing brand to a body care brand with body washes and lotions and things like that. And then she references Kim Kardashian. She flashes this thing up in the thing that says Kim Kardashian has owned 13 businesses. This is where, when all these people reference Kim Kardashian, I just want to say, you're not Kim Kardashian, okay? And there's no fault in that you're not Kim Kardashian, okay? And Kim Kardashian came from a very successful family, first of all. I think people forget that sometimes about Kim Kardashian. That her dad, okay, was a very prominent attorney. That, you know, she came from a very wealthy family, you know, in Beverly Hills, first of all, okay? Number one. Number two, okay, her mother had her own fame for other reasons. Number three, Kim Kardashian had the very first celebrity, I think, one of the very first, I mean, Paris Hilton had the other one, sex tape that ever went out that basically got her the career that they had today. They've had an amazingly successful reality show, one of the very first reality shows of their type. I don't love it, but my husband loves it. Other friends of mine love it, of its type, for years and years and years and years and years, okay? So it's like, I don't know. It'd be like if I were comparing myself to, I don't know, like, you know, Jim Carrey, and being like, well, Jim Carrey has a lot of successful movies. Well, Jim Carrey has also had, I mean, a illustrious career, okay? You cannot compare yourself. So when she's saying businesses that pivot are successful, Kim Kardashian could probably open 50 brands and they would all be successful, okay? Because she's Kim Kardashian and she has a huge following. So you're not. So it's not about businesses that can pivot are successful. Kim Kardashian could open an ice cream shop and it would be successful. Let's just call it what it is, okay? Not every business that pivots can be successful, okay? That's not it. But I will tell you that on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Bo's on there says when she was, I believe it was when she was the chief officer of marketing for Netflix, that they said her numbers weren't good or whatever, and she sat there and the question she asked herself is, where do you pivot next? I think that's a better question. Not how do you pivot your business to be successful, but where do I pivot next in life, in this world? What is my next move supposed to be? Where am I supposed to go next? If Laura was sitting in front of me, that is what I would say to her. Laura, where are you pivoting next? Not where's your business pivoting. Where are you pivoting next? What are you doing next? Okay? What do you want for your life? Or is it that you've got everything that you want and you don't know what you want next, you know? So anyway, she goes in here and she talks about the brand and that it will never be what she wants it to be without a partner. And so she says she's currently looking for partners. She says that she doesn't have the income or the resources for it to be what she wants it to be. And I'm like, damn, girl, you are getting Jaclyn Hill. This is where I kind of felt like it was a little shade to Jaclyn Hill because I was like, you are getting in. I mean, this is what we wanted to hear from Jaclyn Hill, but she never gave it to us. But Laura Lee is giving it to us. She says in there, I don't have the income or the resources to take my brand where I want to take it. Which is exactly why Jaclyn Hill partnered with somebody. There's no shame in it. She even says in there, like everybody that I know partners with somebody. She's diversified her investments and will continue to do that. I think it's very smart. She says she's not willing to put every penny into her brand. And although I don't know that I would say that to your audience that's buying your brand, because you're asking them to put their pennies into your brand, but you're not willing to put every penny that you own into your brand. Although I don't think I would have said it, I appreciate the authenticity of it. I appreciate the meaning behind it, but I probably wouldn't have said it in a video. I don't think that was smart of you to say that, because I think a few people will pick up on that and be like, well, she doesn't want to put every penny into her business, but she wants us to put every penny in the business. I don't think that was smart. She said she's seen influencers with brand partners still crash and burn. I was like, oh, is this another dig at Jaclyn Hill? But then she's also seen some be successful, she says. So I'm like, okay. She doesn't want to just be a brand owner. She wants to be a social media influencer. So she's looking for a partner. So she can't do it all, she says. In 2025, next thing is she's not doing PR unboxings anymore. She's downsizing the PR that she's receiving. She said she's already started doing this, which is why she's gone to every 3 months or every 2 months doing unboxings to every 3 months. She says she doesn't want to seem ungrateful, but it's overwhelming. She says she gets asked all the time about how much PR she receives. And she goes, I don't want to seem ungrateful, but it is overwhelming. And she goes, and when I open this shit on camera, basically is what she says. She goes, I get a lot of comments like, you know, oh my God, you receive all that stuff. She said she gives it all away, which I think is great. This I kind of felt like was a little bit of a dig at Mikayla Nogueira, because she goes in here and she talks about the overwhelming amount of PR and that it's kind of wasteful, and she doesn't say it this way, but this is what she's implying, and that she doesn't need it and she's downsizing it. I mean, she just basically is saying, I don't love makeup anymore, which is interesting because she does this get ready with me. And at the end of it even, she says, she makes some joke about, this is why I can't do these get readies with me, because I can never like do my eyes or something like that while I'm doing it. I actually think her makeup looks the best it's ever looked. I think it looks really pretty in this. She looks great. So anyway, she goes in there and she talks about, she doesn't want to seem ungrateful for all the PR she's receiving, so she's just stopping it. She's not going to do PR. Okay. I did that in 2017, but I was only getting like 3 things of PR anyway. So anyway, she says people are critical when you receive so much free stuff. And I was like, yeah, they are, girl. Look at Mikayla, and she don't care because people say she's an unbothered queen. She's just going to keep on receiving all of her free stuff. She also says that she needs to focus on more, this is where she says more for short form content, but she will still be on YouTube as well. She then breaks down how influencers receive free stuff. Did you think we didn't know this, Laura? Okay. But then she goes into how, like, you receive, like, if you have a large following on Instagram, then people will reach out to you to send their stuff. And she says it's free marketing. And then she goes into talking about how, like, when people, they send them gifts. Well, I mean, this is just something that's come up in the last year or two. And a lot of people have had things to talk about. I think Manny said something about it with Mikayla. Mikayla's the one that's getting purses and trips and things like that, right? Okay, so she's talking about Mikayla here. She's shading Mikayla. I don't know, but she's not wrong in what she says. And she says in here, this is where, like, Manny and Laura will come out and say something, but then they kiss ass to these people. And I'm like, why don't you just fucking draw a line in the sand? This is where people would respect you more, okay? People would respect you more if you got on video and said, yeah, there's a lot of influencers. Because she says in there, what she says is that it's free marketing. They send them gifts because if they send them gifts, they have a better chance that they'll make a video of their brand. And so it's free marketing. So if you're buying somebody a Chanel purse, that $15,000 you're spending on a Chanel purse is money that you would spend on marketing. So if you're sending that purse to Laura or Manny or Mikayla or whoever, that's $15,000 out of your marketing budget, okay? And that's what she's explaining. And everybody's known that forever anyway, right? But what she's saying is basically that if you send a gift, you're expected to do a video. Well, that's where the inauthenticity, okay, inauthenticity of people like Mikayla coming out and doing these reviews and receiving all these gifts. It's like, how do you do a bad review of makeup when people are sending you $20,000, $30,000 Birkins? You can't, okay, or you won't. So, yeah, it's free marketing, and she makes it very clear, but she doesn't call anybody out. I kind of respect her a little bit more if she did, you know? I think she's a little pissed because she ain't getting no free gifts these days. Then she goes in and says she's doing a long makeup clean out video. She goes, maybe it'll be an hour long. She goes, I don't know, as long as YouTube will let her make it. And I'm like, ma'am, I do 1.5 hour vlogs over on my YouTube channel. My longest vlog is 3 hours and 20 minutes. This month we will be passing 3 hours and 30 minutes, okay? Trust me, I know people that put up 8 to 10 hour videos. YouTube will let you post a video longer than an hour, ma'am, okay? Laura, I don't know who at YouTube do you have that's telling you can't post videos longer than an hour? That's some bullshit right there. She says that, but then she goes in, but the editing takes so long. I'm like, oh, okay, well, girl, I don't edit. So I do think it would take, I mean, she said the one reason why she doesn't love doing the unboxings is because the editing alone takes like 4 to 5 hours to film it, and the editing alone, I'm sure it does, for her to like pick up, she's like, oh God, another one. This tier shit, I don't want to review that, but they sent Mikayla a Birkin, so maybe I'll get, I don't know, Coach purse or something. You know, so she's like, I guess I better show this tier PR. I mean, I bet it would be just total hell to have to do that. And the editing, I'm sure, is just shit. I have to tell you, when I went to Los Angeles years ago, okay, this floored me. You know, people always say I don't edit, right? That's like one of the criticisms I get. I'll take it, okay? I'll take that edit. I'll take that criticism all day long. But I think what you don't see is the behind the scenes, okay? When I would sit with these people, and like, I'll never forget the first time, it was Loie Lane, the first person I did it with, and so we were sitting there, we were talking, and like, in the middle, like, I said something, and she said something, and then she looked at the camera, and she goes, cut, and then she goes, okay, when we go to this next part, I go, what's going on? And she goes, oh, that's where I cut, like, I jump cut it, and I go, what? She goes, and so like, throughout the video, she'd like, 30 or 40 times, I mean, this 10, 15-minute video, she goes, cut, so she would know when she was editing the video where she would cut it. And I'm like, what is going on? None of these people could sit, and I'm not sitting here patting my back, but people that want to criticize me for no editing, okay, and all these YouTubers out there that you praise for their high editing, let them sit on video and do an hour fucking long video and no edits, not one, okay? I'm currently right now at 51 minutes, and other than stopping, or the camera stopping at 30 minutes where the camera stops, there has not been one edit in this video. So I'm not praising myself, okay? I don't want to fucking learn to edit. I don't want to edit. I feel like it's wasted time if you want to know the truth, okay? But those people could never do what I do. I'm blown away. So yeah, that editing bullshit that takes 5 and 6 hours, oh no ma'am, that's a waste of time. I wouldn't. I'd throw up all of it, the mess in there of the PR unboxing. I think it would be hilarious to see her going down there and being like, okay, what's in this box? You know, Tyler, hand it to me. I think it would be hilarious. So then she goes on there, and then she says people are asking her about, she says 2 things in this video. Now, I know that I've seen Laura. I said this about Toddy, and people were like, oh, you guessed that Toddy was sober. I never in a million years would have guessed that Toddy was sober, okay? I never in a million years would have guessed it. But she used sober language. It's always interesting to me when people use 12-step language, specifically 12-step language. And Toddy would use language from time to time. I was like, my little Scooby, as a person that's been sober for 30 years, my Scooby-Doo ear would go up because it's things that like not a lot of people say. Now, Laura Lee is reading a lot of like self-help books. She calls them, I can't remember what she calls them, self-something. But anyway, and I love that because I love those kind of books too. But she says a couple different things in her video. One of the things that she says is nothing changes as nothing changes. That is a direct 12-step quote. That is a direct 12-step quote. Now, I know that other people have borrowed it. It's in self-help books and stuff like that. That's probably where she got it. But that quote is a direct 12-step quote. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Then she's reading RuPaul's memoir. Well, RuPaul is sober. And I was like, what's going on? Like, are all these people in the beauty influencer space getting sober? I never thought that she was really, like, I mean, I don't know. She's never come out and talked about, is she, if she's sober, I don't know that. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. But I feel like I've seen pictures of her where she's like holding a glass of wine or a drink or something. I don't know. But anyway, listen, we're everywhere. So she's probably just picking up the language from, maybe in RuPaul's book. RuPaul says, nothing changes if nothing changes, probably. Then she goes in and she says that her favorite makeup brand ever is, she goes, well, Laura Lee Cosmetics. I always say that. Why wouldn't you? It's my brand. I live that she was that honest, okay? Because Jaclyn's always like Jaclyn Cosmetics, but she doesn't say that. Laura Lee goes, well, I've always said Jaclyn Cosmetics because it's my brand. Why wouldn't you say that? I like lived for the honesty of that, right? And then she goes in and she said that she just wanted to be transparent in this video and that she wanted to start the year off with everybody being on the same page, meaning her and her audience. I actually really, really liked this video. I really did. I thought it was the way you come out and you kind of address some things. And I think that this is where Laura has sat back and watched other people since her fuck up, and she's watched them and been like, I'm not doing the same thing, okay? I'm not doing the same thing. But I will tell you this, like, so I'm doing this predictions video. A lot of people have been asking me about this and about that and trends and whatever. I don't know why people think I know anything. I just watch stuff, and it's not predictions. I'm not a psychic. Or am I? I don't know. I predicted a lot of things that have come true. But one thing I will tell you is that I think that authenticity, being genuine, and having a passion for something are going to be three things that people are going to be super attracted to in the next 2 years. I don't think people are going to be that attracted by unbothered queens and shit tons of PR and things like, and gifted things. I think people are kind of going away from that. I don't think people are that interested in it that much anymore. And I'm not just pointing to Mikayla Nogueira. There's 30 or 50 people that are doing that right now. But I think that that's the way to move away. I also think that long form content is coming back. I've thought that for the last year. And interestingly enough, like on my vlog channel, my watch time is insanity. So, I mean, I'm doing like an hour and 15 to an hour and a half minutes of videos every day over there, and my watch time is insanity. I mean, people are watching almost, like, your watch time is how the average amount that people watch on your videos. So, like, if you do a 30-minute video, the average watch time might be like 15 or 20 minutes for a lot of people. Sometimes it's a lot less. Sometimes it's a lot more. I know people think, why would you stop watching it? But a lot of people come in and they start watching it and they stop watching it. Well, that averages into your time. My vlog channel, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's like almost the entirety of the video. So people are watching, and that's every single day. I mean, I get about the same amount of views on every single vlog, you know? And no, it's not getting 50,000 views. That's why I think Laura should do more on the vlog channel, because I think people are more interested in that. People are more interested in the lives of people today than they are in, like, how much shit do you have, you know? I don't think they really care that much about it. The people that are watching that on her makeup channel, those are the people that have hung around because they love her for her makeup. So anyway, let me know what you think about all that in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.